there's a dream and you feel like you can grab it, you can grasp it, do it. If you'd asked me this was going to be my life a year and a half ago, I would have been like, you're crazy. I'm going to be in a cubicle somewhere working. There's at a point where I thought I was going to end my life. And nobody knew that because I was afraid to say anything. And thankfully, I just, instead of that, I just got a plane ticket and got out of America. Hey, this is Craig Young, a.k.a. The Cheap God, and you're listening to Dreams and Drive.
Hey, this is Raina Campbell, your Chief Dream Driver, and welcome to the No Parking Podcast, where through conversations and discussions with creators like yourself, we'll find interesting approaches to help you take your dreams out of park, put them in drive, and ride towards success. Hey, Dream Drivers, welcome to episode 210. Today, our guest is Craig Young, and he's going to be talking about his unconventional life and why on April 1st, 2018, he quit his job, sold all his things, and decided to travel the world. On this episode, he's going to talk about his decision to leave the United States and all that he's encountered along the way. So we're going to get real about some of the mental health issues he's navigating, being a Black man abroad, loneliness, and some of the sacrifices he's made as a dream driver, but also some of the great things that he's learning about himself and the world. And I also wanted to leave some time so that Craig could share some of his favorite travel hacks for anyone else who's out there looking to disrupt their current lives and go experience new things. I'm excited for you all to hear about Craig and his journey, and I also hope that it inspires something within you as well. I think we all have these desires. I think we all sometimes have these random gut instincts to do something different. And sometimes when you act on those instincts and when you act on those decisions or those desires, things can unfold that can tremendously impact your life. As always, if you love this episode, please share it with a friend. I love it when you guys are sharing on social medias, tweeting about it, Facebooking us, emailing it to people. Remember, you can find us at Dreams and Drive across the board, and make sure you're using the hashtag Dreams and Drive as well. And I also want to say thank you to everybody who came out to our first New York City happy hour. It was amazing, and I got to meet a lot of new faces. So stay tuned for more happy hours. I want to do some around the country. So if you know of a vendor, if you want to partner and have a Dreams and Drive meetup in your city, hit me up on Instagram, or you can send me an email, raina@dreamsanddrive.com. And also, if you want to make sure that you don't miss any Dreams and Drive news, I got a lot of notes from people saying they did not know about the New York City Happy Hour meetup. You have to make sure you're on our email list. We have a weekly email that goes out. It's called The Keys. It comes out every Wednesday. To sign up, just go to dreamsanddrive.com/join. That's dreamsanddrive.com/join. All right, let's hear from Craig. Hi, Craig. Welcome to Dreams and Drive.
How you doing?
I am doing fine. I'm super excited to chat with you today. You are the first Dreams and Drive guest that is like officially on a different time zone. Tell our listeners where you are located right now.
Well, I'm in Bali, Indonesia right now. I just got here last week.
Wow. And you coming from, where were you before?
I was in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia before.
Okay, so we're gonna have to get to the story behind why you're even in Bali right now. But before that, the way I love to start my interviews is to go back in time, right? Think about young Craig. What was inspiring young Craig? If I had to ask your mom to describe you as a kid, like, what would she say?
I've been infatuated with traveling since I was born. Like, my mom put me on a plane when I was probably when I was close to 1 year old, and we were just traveling. Like, my first trip was back to Jamaica, and then all through elementary school, I visited a lot of Europe because my mom was a teacher, so she had breaks off, so she would take me and her to Europe. So she would say that I just love culture, like I love being around different things. I was just raised to be around different things. So that's really where my travel bug's been around. Because, like, thanks to my mom, my travel bug's been around. She just always put travel in my life, saying that, like, there's a big world and you have to see it.
What was one of your favorite places that you can remember traveling to? And, like, what about it was so interesting to you?
I think my favorite place was probably Germany. Yeah,
Really?
Germany. Yeah,
What?
it
I've
was
never been to
Germany.
Germany, so like, what? Why?
Like just being around like some of the food too was crazy. That was the first time I ate like because it was the one I remember it was one of my first trips, and it was just crazy because like I think I was like in the third or the fourth grade, and just to be like when I look back at it now, I think like whoa, I was a third grader visiting Europe on the summer. Like you don't ever think like when you think about stuff that's crazy, but like it was Germany, and like I always like till now I always like Germany because just like the people are really dope, and the architecture is dope, and like everything just about the country, just the culture I like is dope, and the history behind it. Like even though it had like some of it was bad history, but it overcame its history and things like that. So I that's favorites right now.
So you were
And
like
then Morocco. I went to Morocco as a kid in Morocco.
Really? I really want to go to
Morocco.
There's this resort. It's called Janae Tums. I can't even say it right, but it's like every time I look at like their Instagram, I'm like, oh, I need to go to Morocco. It just seems so beautiful, so majestic. So you were really like the young cultured Craig then, right?
Yeah, I was. I'm not like when I look back, I was like, there's a reason why I'm the way I am now. It's because of how I was raised.
So what was the dream then as a kid? Where did you grow up, first of all? Let me just get that straight.
How it is that I was born in New York just for a passport, and then I was sent to Jamaica and was raised there till I was like 12. And then I moved to Florida and lived in South Florida, went to high school there, and then I went to Florida State.
Okay, so wait, you don't have it like I don't hear an accent though. For being in Jamaica till you were 12,
I turn it on. Yeah, as a Jamaican, you have to learn how to turn it on and off. You know,
I know, but like I can pick up sometimes when someone is, I couldn't pick it up, but
it comes out when I was in Jamaica for Carnival. It comes out.
What was the dream then as a kid? Like, did you have this ultimate idea of maybe one day being, I guess, a traveler? Like, what was the real goal that you were working towards?
No idea. I had no idea. When I was a kid, I didn't even know. When I was a kid, I wanted to work for Boeing because I loved planes. I wanted to work for them, but then in high school, my guidance counselor, she sat me down. She was like, "Your math grades are horrible. You'll never make it as an engineer. So think of something else."
That
so
sucks.
I was like, "Yeah," but it's the truth. I'm not good at math, so it's like I don't think I would have made an engineer. Even though I really wanted to do it, I know I probably wouldn't have made it as an engineer.
So what ended up happening then?
I went to school for criminal justice because I changed it up and said I maybe want to work in law enforcement. The thing about criminal justice, when you go to school for it, it's such a oversaturated degree because everybody has it. And like it's an online degree now, so everybody has it. So it's so hard to get a job in it. I didn't know that when I was doing it as a freshman at 18. But after graduating, I couldn't find a job, so I went to the military because I didn't know what else to do. And then after the military, I moved to Houston. And then when I moved to Houston, I started working like office jobs here and there. That's when my life just started going down. Like I was like, nah, it's not for me.
This ain't it.
This life ain't it. This ain't it. And then I got laid off. And then a light bulb went on my head. I was like, man, it's time for me to go.
All right, let's pause right there. But before that, I'm just interested or curious. If you could go back, would you have done the military again? Because I feel like there's some people who they like it, although they feel like it was worthwhile. Although they didn't really like the experience, they thought it was good for them during that point, but they would never go back. And then there are some people, like I have a friend who wants to make it a career, and it's like, all right, like what was your take on being in the military?
I hate being controlled. And the military is all about control. And the thing about it, I get why people go into the military because the military is meant for kids straight out of high school. Because when you're 18, you can take control a lot better. I went in the military when I was 24. I was already out of college. I already had a car. I've had my own. I had to pay rent myself. I went to 24 being controlled. Somebody telling me what to do every minute of the day. I think that's what got me the most. Like, the whole aspect of the military was cool, but it's just the whole control factor where like somebody literally can tell you what to do at any time. Like you can be out with your friends and you get a phone call like, oh, you have to come back to work. And it could be a Saturday. Like that's like the control just got me. And I understand like the military, it because of the military, I have a paycheck for the rest of my life. So it's just like, yeah, it worked out. But if I went back in time, would I do it again? Probably not.
Why is it that you have a paycheck for the rest of your life?
I'm a veteran. Well, I'm disabled.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm a veteran. So I get my retirement or pension check for the rest of my life. That's how I fund this traveling thing. Because everybody asks me how I do it. That's how I do it. It's not enough. Trust me, it's not enough money to make it a month in America, but it's a lot of money in Asia and a lot in South America.
So let's go back to that date that you said, this ain't it. I gotta go. Like, walk me through, like, what were your thoughts and how did you start figuring out what the plan was going to be?
So basically what happened was I was working a office job at a school doing, I was doing admissions and I was like recruiting students for this private college, the Art Institute of Houston. While doing that, I was applying to criminal justice jobs, like while doing that, because I hated.
What are criminal justice jobs? I just wonder, like, what?
Like cops,
okay.
Cops, FBI, court, probation, all that stuff. But with that, you need experience, and I had no experience except school and the military, and it's like that wasn't cutting it. So while I'm applying all these jobs, it's about January 2018. I'm applying all these jobs, and there's one job. There's a FBI job, but it's not like it's a internship.
Mm-hmm.
It's FBI internship, and all you had to do was be in school. And I was getting my master's already online, so all I had to do was be in school to prove I was in school. Like blah. So I applied to it, and I applied to it in January, and everything was going good. I did the application, everything like that. In my head, I'm like, yeah, I'm about to be in Washington this summer. I'm about to quit my job because I already know I had a friend that went through the internship. They offered him a job after the internship if he did well. It's like, yeah, everything's gonna work out. Blah. So 2 years before that, in 2000, it was like 2 years before that, 2.5 years, I had smoked weed. So I was truthful on the application. I'm not going to lie because it's the FBI. It's like their polygraph is probably crazy.
Definitely.
So I did the application, and next thing I'll get a call. I think it's about the first week in February. I get a call from the FBI. They're like, "Hey man, I'm sorry, but you'll be disqualified from the process." I was like, "Why?" Because our window for drugs is 3 years, and your window's been 2 years.
What?
What?
Is it even in your system still?
It's not even in my system. Wasn't ever in my system. It was just something. I was at a party and I was stressed. Like I was just hating my life at that point. I was like, they're like, well, you could still apply again in like a year and a half. But I'm glad you didn't lie on the application because we would have found out on the polygraph anyway. But so I'm like,
what?
You know what? As soon as I literally I got that call and I was like, you know what? This ain't it. I gotta go. Like this, my light bulb went off. I gotta go. Like I'm good. And what's crazy is that when I got that call, it was early in the morning. I got that call. In my head, I was like, all right, I'm done. I'm leaving. And I'm like, all right, my lease for my apartment ends April 1st. So I'm leaving April 1st. I'm going to quit my job the last day in March, be on a plane to Thailand or somewhere in Asia. I didn't even know where I was going at that point on April 1st. The next week, I bought my ticket, my one-way ticket. I decided I'm going to go to Thailand. My first stop. I told myself I'm going to do this thing for a year. I'm going to travel the world for a year. And I'll be back. I'll be back by April 2019. So the beginning of March comes around. The next thing you know, my boss pulls me in the office and it's like, hey, we need to talk. And I was like, okay. Your numbers are down. So that job did numbers. It was like, your numbers are down. So we're going to have to either put you on probation or let you off with a severance package. And in my head, I was like, wow, I was about to quit y'all in about 2 weeks. I was about to put my 2 weeks notice in.
Wow.
And y'all are about to fire me and give me a severance and let me get unemployment too. And I was just like, you know what? In my head, I was like, all right, my decision's already made. But you know how to play it cool. And I was like, let me think about it. I got home. I was like, yo.
You did a happy dance? I would have done like a little happy dance.
I did. Because I was just like, how is this happening? Like, how is all this stuff falling into place randomly like this? And I took the severance package. I sold everything I had within a month. Like, my last week in America, I was sleeping on a friend's air mattress in my apartment. I let my friend hold my car, which I recently don't have anymore now, but he had my car in his garage. And I got on a plane April 1st, and I went to Bangkok, Thailand, and then Chiang Mai, Thailand, and I stayed there for like 2 months. That's really how it started. Like, I was fed up. Like, I was in such a dark place. There's one thing people, especially our people, especially Black people, one thing we don't like to talk about is mental health. And that is something that, like, I was in such a bad place that none of my friends knew. Like, the thing people don't get about mental health is that somebody could be smiling, could go to the club with you, could drink with you, all that stuff. But as soon as they get home, you don't know what they feel. You don't know how they feel on the inside. Like, I used to go out with my friends. None of my friends knew something was wrong. I used to go out with my friends. I used to party and stuff. I used to go home, just sit in a corner in the dark, like, what's wrong with me? Why is my life not working out? And I love and hate when people say you're not supposed to compare yourself to other people, but it's easier said than done when you're at the bottom of the barrel while people around you are like, not saying they're happy making money, but at least they can make it. At least they're not worrying about, like, when I was living in America, when I had to get gas, I had to figure out what I wasn't going to eat that day. Like, that's like, I wasn't making a lot of money. Like, I wasn't making nothing. So it's like, I had to figure out what I had to sacrifice just if I want to get some fish to meal prep. I had to figure out, okay, I'm going to have to get some frozen vegetables and not no fresh vegetables. Like, I had to sacrifice.
Dang. So
people don't get that.
Did you feel like you had any support though? Like, did you feel like you had anyone to talk to?
It's like, I had one friend. That's because, like, the thing about us is the one thing that bothers me, like, and I wish, like, we as men and as Black men would change that. Like, when another man comes at you in a weak moment, in a weak state, like, don't tell him to suck it up. Don't tell him, oh, you'll get over it. Like, actually listen to that man. And I only had like 2 or 3 friends that actually listened to me. And actually, like, I had people that I knew from college telling me, oh, you're crazy. Suck it up. I don't know what's wrong with you. Like you a man. Like, and then, like, that bothers me. Like, still bothers me to this day. Cause, like, I'm not going to say I didn't have a support when I was going through, but I didn't express how I felt because I didn't want anybody to think I was weak. Because that's how society makes us as men think that when we have feelings or something, that when we express it, that we're weak. And so I had my homie Kendall, my friend / others, Bonte, my friend Jonathan, and my friend AJ. Like, we would just sit there and, like, just talk about life, like, on separate occasions. And they were some of the people that wouldn't judge me if I'm going through something. But I had other people that thought I was crazy, that thought I was just being soft. But people don't realize, like, when somebody is actually going through something, don't just let them be by themselves. Like, you don't know what that person's capable of. Like, there's at a point where I thought I was going to end my life, and nobody knew that because I was afraid to say anything. Mm-hmm. And thankfully, I just, instead of that, I just got a plane ticket and got out of America.
Where do you think that courage to leave came from? Do you think it was like fueled by just being fed up, or do you think there was something deeper that was driving you to just say, I'm a reclaim my life?
I was fed up, and then growing up, I always knew I wasn't meant to live in America. Like, growing up, I always knew, especially in a Jamaican household, and growing up, like, my mother, she always told me, she's like, you might live here, you might live in America, but you're from Jamaica. Like, you just live here. That's all. Like, I don't want you to become stagnant and think that there's nothing outside of America. And then also because I was just fed up. Like, I was at my breaking point. When you hate to wake up every morning, when you hate when that alarm clock goes off every morning, and you live for Friday and dread Monday, like, that's when, like, you really have to look at your life and be like, yo, what are you doing? And not a lot of people are able to do what I did and just leave, because I'm fortunate enough to have that extra money. Mm-hmm. But it's a system. I was telling somebody yesterday, I was telling some other people of color that I met yesterday, and they're like, America's a system. It's a work system. And like, traveling now, you'll meet Europeans, and the average European PTO is 30 days.
You could not even imagine that. Like, that's only what you would get at some like new age company in America.
American companies, average PTO is 14 days, including sick days. These people are getting 30 days plus sick days. Like, when you think about it, I was like, that's why I always understood. Like, somebody hit me, was like, a lot of these foreigners, they ask me when I come here, or I come to these different countries, it's like, why'd you leave America? Why'd you leave America? It's the American dream. I'm like, I don't have any beat. Like, America is America, but it's just like how it's built and how the structure is. It's literally work, die, work. Like, you just work and you die. Like, that's it. Like, there's nothing else. Like, there's no enjoyment. There's no work-life balance in America. Not like at all, unless you work for yourself.
How would you define like the purpose of life? And I asked that. Let me give you a backstory here. So recently I found this Instagram page, and I just mentioned it to a past guest I interviewed last week. It's called the Nap Ministry. Have you heard of it?
I've heard about it. I have heard about it.
Well, the whole concept of just even napping, right? Like, how people are scared to take naps, and there's this whole like grind till you die culture, even in the entrepreneurship world. And I'm never really subscribed to that. The whole thing about like team no sleep. I'm like, I need my sleep. I don't know about y'all, but like, you're giving something up when you're giving up your sleep, and I'm not willing to do that.
Giving up years of your life when you don't sleep.
Yeah, and it's like, it makes you think about, and I've been having these conversations with myself mostly about like, what's the purpose of life, right? And I feel like we've strayed. In America, you can really stray from the actual definition of life, which is to live. You know, so how would you define life now as you are embarking upon this journey?
My life now is to live and to be happy. That's what I feel like life should be. Life should, like, I get, like, in the world we're in now, you can't live with, you honestly can't, you can't eat without money. Like, I get that, but it's all about being happy. Like, I feel like that's what life is to me now, just being happy. Mm-hmm. Like, actually being happy with what I have. The funny thing about it, when I left, everybody's asking me, Craig, when are you going to do a YouTube channel? When are you going to do this? Like, don't you want to make more money? I'm like, yo, I'm happy and I'm comfortable with what I have right now. I don't need a lot to survive. Like, I haven't worried about money since I left America. Like, I haven't worried about it. Like, I still, of course, I want to make sure I still have, I'm not going to overspend and just ball out and stuff, but I haven't worried about eating. I haven't worried about paying my rent. I haven't worried about none of that thing since I left America. And I feel like, yes, it involves money, but it involves you being comfortable with what you have. I feel like in America that you can't be comfortable. If you don't have a lot, you can't be comfortable. You'll be in some of these countries that I've been in. I've been in the Philippines, I've been Thailand, Vietnam, and you'll see probably a person selling some food on the street. Probably doesn't have a lot of money, but they'll still have a smile on their face. Ask me what poor person in America has a smile on their face, because everybody's just focused on one thing, is getting more and more and more, but they don't care if they're happy or not. I know so many people that are making $200,000 in America that are miserable because all they do is work. They go home at like 9:00 p.m. and they have to go back to work at 6 a.m. Everybody's focused on that one thing. Life should be about who's like happiness. And everybody's definition of happiness is different. As long as you're happy with your life, you're good. And people have to realize you can be happy and comfortable with what you have. You don't need more. Like, what do I need more for? I'm good with what I have.
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about anything. And that's what I feel like life is. I feel like life is about happiness. Mentally, I haven't been happy since college.
How does it feel now for you to get that peace?
Man, it's like the best thing on earth. Not to be stressed and to be happy. Like, to be happy, and I'm not even a baller. Like, I walk around in gym clothes most of the time. I get on my scooter and I go to the gym, like, just to be free. Am I gonna work again? I don't know. But if I do work again, it's gonna be something that I don't have to ask nobody, can I get a day off? Can I get a mental health day?
Yeah.
And those are very important. For anybody who's listening, if you have days off, you need to take at least one day every other week, or if you can only do it once a month as a mental health day, just to not do nothing, just to sit at home and not do nothing and just meditate and not do nothing. I'm telling my friend back in America right now because he's stressing about his job. I was like, bro, you need to take a mental health day. You need to do that.
And I think in our culture, like, we feel bad about it, right? Like, it's like, oh, but I shouldn't. I should be doing this. And it's just one of those things that we have to realize it's ours. Like, like, how have we gotten to the point that we're really letting corporations control our lives?
It really has, because I remember when I got to Thailand April 1st, it took me at least 3 to 4 months to break the American cycle of thinking, like, why am I not doing something? I should be doing this. I should be doing that. And then it didn't help that I had friends back home like, hey, bro, what are you doing? Are you doing something productive? Doing something like, it took me a couple months, like, yo, I literally tried to plan out my entire year before I left. And next thing you know, I got to Thailand and I got to sitting and I just got to doing nothing. And I was like, I just threw the whole plan out the door. And the funny thing about it, people still ask me, so what's your plan? What's your plan? I'm like, I don't know. I have no idea. I'm just going with the flow and whatever cheap plane tickets I find.
I want to ask you about this for people who are listening, like, just the hows of how you were able to make this transition. Like, how did you prepare to live? I guess I wouldn't call you a nomad, but how did you prepare to leave? What tips would you have for people to prepare for this type of journey?
So the first thing to do is Google. Google is the best thing. There's people that write blogs about different countries. Research your country. If there's a specific country you want to go there for a couple days, couple weeks, research it, see what cities you want to go to and stuff like that. And the thing a lot of people ask me about, how do I find flights and how do I find accommodations? I use Agoda. That's what I use for hotels. They have the best rates for hotels, and I use Airbnb. Airbnb is also good in some countries. Now for flights, I always use Google Flights, and I just explore to see the cheapest. Also, when you're traveling, a lot of people don't like to go through this, but you need to learn your hub cities. Those are when your flights are the cheapest if it flies out of a hub.
What does that mean?
So like a hub city is where an airline centralized most of their flights from. So like in America, Jersey, United has a hub in Newark. American Airlines has a hub in Miami. United has a hub in Houston. So what that means is that a lot of times tickets will be cheaper if you fly out of a bigger city. And that also works in Asia. The hub of Asia is Singapore. Like you can literally fly to anywhere in the world from Singapore. I have a flight to South Africa, $300, 10 hours directly from Singapore.
Wow.
So for a lot of people that come to Asia, that come to Thailand, they usually always fly into Singapore or they fly into Hong Kong or even Beijing. But it all matters what airline we fly with. Every airline that has its ups and downs. If you're flying overseas, the hardest thing about traveling, especially in America, is just getting out of America because flights are so expensive to get out of America. But when you get out of America and you start traveling around the world, flights are a lot cheaper.
Why is that? Like, are they trying to keep us trapped in America?
Probably. I have no idea. Like, I just flew 3 hours from Malaysia to Bali, and it was $50.
You're kidding me.
So it's like, it was $50, and I flew to another country.
It's like $50 for a train, for a bus ticket from here to D.C.
Exactly. So I tell people, I was like, the hardest thing about traveling in America is actually getting out of America. Because after you get out of America, you could easily, if you had time, if people had time, they easily could travel around Southeast Asia and fly around Southeast Asia for like nothing. But it's just getting out. Like you're gonna spend, but you can find deals. Sometimes you might be able to find, like I visited America last month and I found a round trip from Kuala Lumpur for $700. But some people have found cheaper than that. But it's all about the times you fly. And you also got to know the times you fly as well. And the different type of dates, holidays, and flying on Saturday is always more expensive for some weird reason. Flying out on a Sunday as well is always more. Flying on the weekend period is just expensive. You just got to go. You got to use the tools that you have. So Google Flights, or go to Google, period, YouTube, and just use those. But don't be afraid. Like, and then all the people that don't want to travel alone, like as a black man, I've never felt safer than in some of these Asian countries as a black man. Like I was scared when I was in America last month, being there for 2 weeks. Like as a black man, I never feared for my life in Asia.
Why is why do you think there's that difference? Like what's the fear you have in America?
Guns. That's it. Out of all the countries here, the one country that's like gun blazing is the Philippines. The Philippines, they have a lot of guns, but the Philippines is a great country. I loved my time. I spent 3 weeks there. It was really dope. But even with guns in the Philippines, I didn't feel threatened. That's what's crazy. Like people say all the time, "Oh, you're black and you're in Asia." But I was like, I'll deal with Asian racism before, because at the end of the day, the whole world
is racist.
Wants to be black without. Yeah. The whole world's racist one way against black people. Everybody wants to be black without actually being black. So Asia is no different. Like they dress like us, they listen to our music, they steal our hair, techniques. They try to do everything like us, but they won't take us home to mama. But like they'll want to they'll want to be just like us. But the thing that's different is that you might. I've never been called the N-word or anything like that. But in America, you can die for being black. In Asia, you never have to worry about losing your life because you're black. You might get looked at funny, or somebody might not serve you. Somebody might avoid you to go serve their fellow person, but you'll never have to worry about dying because you're black. And that's one thing that I try to tell people in America. A lot of my friends, I'm like, yo, no place is not racist towards us, but I never have to worry about if I'm going to make it home from the club because a cop might shoot me. Or I never have to worry about if I'm walking around and somebody tries to like mug me because I'm black. Or it's like, no, I don't have to worry about that. Like, I'm fine. And I get a lot of women say because, well, you're a man, but I know solo traveling women around Asia. And the worst they've gotten was they might get like a slur about their skin color or something, like about like because they're too dark. Because a lot of Asians like to be light because they believe the white skin is the best. Mm-hmm. So, but that's what they'll get. Like they won't get any. Nobody's not gonna like beat them or like do anything. Like unfortunately, that's how it is in America right now, and I'm just glad I don't have to be around that.
So if you got pulled over in Asia and you like, I guess I've never been to Asia, so I don't know. Like, do the sirens go off? Like, you don't have that pounding in your heart? Because I even get that. Like, anytime I see sirens behind me,
I still get the pounding in my heart to this day. Like, I still have the PTSD from growing up as a black person in America. That when a cop just passes by here and they don't even have sirens. They just flash the light. Literally, my like I'll see a cop while I'm riding my scooter, and like my heart will start beating like, oh man. But I have nothing to worry about because most of the cops in Asia aren't even armed. The most they have is a baton.
Craig, though, what are some real life challenges though that you're facing? Because although I always feel like every story always has some sort of valley in it, right? Like what's the real life ish that you have to deal with by choosing this life?
Loneliness. That's the biggest thing. I think that's the only thing is loneliness. When I was in America, I was stressed, I was depressed, but I wasn't lonely. I could have had a girlfriend. I could have probably had a wife, but I was depressed. My mental health was at the bottom of the barrel. Now I'm in Asia and my mental health is some of the strongest it's ever been. Shout out to meditating as well. But now I'm lonely. Like I'm black and I'm in Asia. And I think people don't realize that I'm black and in Asia. Like I'm not going out on dates all the time and stuff like that. I'm not meeting people.
And you're young. It's not like you already lived your life,
and then
right?
I'm young too. Yeah. And I'm like, so it's just like, I'm 30 years old. And it's like, yeah, partying is fun, but like, what am I getting out of it now that I'm mentally stable enough? And that's the thing I had to sacrifice. And there's times that I thought about, man, am I only going to ever be in love if I move back to America? Like, but then I think about, what do I want more? Do I want good mental health or a full heart? Because people don't realize those are two different things. Your heart and your mind are two different things. They coexist with each other, but they're two different things. And that's something that I had to think about. You're like, yo, I don't know if I could, like, because it sucks. Like, literally, I'll be in another country and like a woman won't even look at me or even give me time of day. And what I would love to be with another black woman, but you're in Asia. Like there's not a lot of options. Mm-hmm. Not a lot of options. If you're just trying to date, if I'm trying to date one of my queens, like there's not many here. So it's just, that's the biggest thing about traveling. It's being, because I don't mind living out of like, I don't mind all my possessions being in 2 backpacks. I don't mind jumping from apartments. I don't mind being in different countries every couple of months. That don't bother me. It's not having somebody to actually share it with. That's the only thing that bothers me. That's the only thing that I struggle with. That's the only thing I struggle with every day is just being alone. Is what I struggle with every day. And that's the thing that sucks. Because before, when I was in America, I struggled with hating my life. And now I love my life and I'm struggling being alone. So it kind of sucks. But I'm still fortunate to what I'm able to do.
I was going to ask you haven't found the answer yet because it's something you're struggling with currently. But do you think there'll be a point where it might be too much? Like, because I feel like we weren't meant to be alone for too long, right? Like, and I do believe in companionship and, there's always the benefits, but like, do you ever think about, hey, like, how much longer can I take of this?
I think about it all the time. Like, I'll have random thoughts like, yo, how long am I going to do this? Because the longer I do this, the more I'm going to be by myself. And the thing about me is just like, I always try to think the best out of somebody. And I can meet somebody and in my head, I'm like, I wonder if they're the one that I'm going to be with. Like, but like it doesn't work out like that. So I think about that stuff all the time. Like, how long am I going to do this? Because the longer I do this, the more I'm going to be alone.
Yeah,
so
and I also
like,
think it goes to show also with you being vulnerable and sharing your emotions, right? Because you know how there's this common trope that, oh, black men don't care about love, or, you know, not saying that they don't, but I just feel like black men are always stigmatized as in, oh, like they don't really desire that. And I don't believe in that, but it's just like, that's also something else that you have to then think about, how you're already seen as, oh, he's just probably living the life, getting whoever he wants. Probably doesn't even like black women. You know, like it's that too that you got to fight against.
It is though. Because there was at a point where I had somebody went in my DMs were like, well, you're in Asia. You're not trying to find a black woman. I'm like, I would love to meet another black woman. I'm not going to discriminate between other races, but if there's nothing around me that's black, I don't know what would you like me to do? Are you going to fly over here and live with me? Like what would you like me to do? Like I express my feelings. That's one thing I do. That's one thing like I said that earlier. I don't care about what anybody thinks about me, about if I'm weak or if I'm a sap or if I'm Drakey. I don't care. Like that. That's one thing I don't care about. I'm gonna let you know how I feel. Like I would love to travel around the world with a black queen, but at the end of the day, there's only some places I could actually be to actually do it. After being in America these past last month, I realized why I can't go back. I realized why I can't stay back there. It's not healthy for my mental state to live in America anytime soon. But it's still on my other hand, I'm like, how long can I do this? Like, I need to be in a country where like the black man is like loved.
It's not just like it's one thing to not fear being a black man, but at the same time, you want to feel that embrace of being a black man.
Yeah, but exactly, and that's the hardest thing about Asia. Is like they'll idolize you because you look like something on TV. That's the one thing about Asian men don't have a masculinity line. So Asian men will idolize other like black men and like how we look, and like they want to look like our stature and like how we dress and stuff. But the women, like when I lived in Malaysia, like women won't even look at me when I walk outside.
And you're good looking, like, so I feel like it's not like you're, you know, I mean, subjectively, that's what I think, you know? So it's like, it's not like you're not nice to look at.
It's just how it is. And then like, you have to realize that I had a friend tell me like a black person brings shame to some people's families in Asia. So it's like, you have to see how it works. But I wouldn't trade this experience for anything. Like I wouldn't trade traveling to Asia for nothing, because I've seen so much stuff. I've been around so much things. Like I love every inch, every part, every minute of this. Even the bad part, even the lonely parts I love. So it's like I wouldn't trade it for anything. Do I eventually want to be in a country where I'm more loved a little bit? I think there is a country that I'm really loved in, but do I want to be in a cheaper country like where it's still good? So like I'm thinking about Colombia as a long term, probably after I travel around Africa, because African countries. The bad thing, I would love to live in Africa, but the bad thing about living in Africa is that none of the countries are actually cheap. Like the exchange rate isn't really good between America and a lot of the African countries. So it's like you're gonna spend as much money as you spend in America. So I can't live in a country like that. Mm-hmm. I would have to pick Asia or South America.
So what day did you leave? April 1st, 2018 was the day that. What's been your favorite day since April 1st, 2018?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Or like favorite place, like, is there an experience that like, you know how when you just experience something and you're like, wow, like I'm living this life, like it was worth it. Was there a day that you were just like, it's all worth it?
I think when I was in the Philippines, when I was in the Philippines, I was in Cebu, and I was just riding around on the scooter, and I was just looking at everything, and I was just like, yo, this is what I do. This is what I do when I wake up every morning. Like, I just do that. Like, Like, I literally just flew and got off a plane into another country. I didn't have to ask anybody for PTO. I didn't have to do anything like that. I think that's when it really hits you, is when, like, you don't have to ask for permission. You're actually just living your life. I feel like even as adults, we're still asking for permission. Like, we're still asking permission to go somewhere. We're still asking permission to do something. And, like, it felt good. Like, I haven't asked anybody for permission to do anything in a whole year or more than that.
I love that you say that, because I feel like we're asking people permission, and this whole podcast is called Dreams and Drive, right? And I feel like so many of us are asking permission to put our dreams into motion, not realizing like we are in the driver's seat of our car.
That's true. And that's even words for me. Like, there's things that I want to do, and I'm scared to do it. Like, I'm trying to tell myself to push through. Like, this was the biggest battle for me, is actually leaving. But there's other things that I want to work on. Like, I want to start a fitness program and probably start a meal prepping program and things like that. But it's like, in the back of my head, I'm like, man, I'm just enjoying not doing nothing. But I actually want to do something. But I don't know if I want to do something. I'm enjoying not doing nothing. Like, it's like two people on your shoulders and they fighting, trying to figure out what you want to do.
Could there be complacency in the act of dreaming? And I say that because, like, I feel exactly what you mean. So I quit my job full time, like, in August of last year to work on Dreams and Drive, and kind of honestly to just get a break, because I feel like I've just been grinding and not really getting to figure out who I am and what I want to do. But at the same time, right, like, you can get on a, like, autopilot. Like, you can get on autopilot with living the life that you wanted, right? Or being free, being comfortable. And I'm not trying to assume that you may be on autopilot, but do you feel like if you don't push yourself to work through that fear, that you could easily, like, time could just slip by and you start becoming complacent?
It's been a year. Yeah, it's been a year. Time has slipped by. I'm on autopilot. I wake up at 10 o'clock. I go to the gym. I come home and I tell myself the day before that I'm going to record and I'm going to do something for YouTube or something like that. And I'll get home from the gym and I'll literally just sit at home and watch TV. And then the day's gone. Like, I'll just, like, that's literally what and, like, you just be like, and I'm like, every day I tell myself, yeah, I'm going to do it. And I just become so, that is, like, it's the truth, though. I just like the light bulb went off for me to leave. I'm hoping that the light bulb goes off on me like, hey, big fella, it's time for you to start, like, pursuing something. Like, you're happy now, so start pursuing something else. Like, to add something more to your plate. But right now, like, a year is hit, and I feel like it's hitting that time where, like maybe maybe I need to push myself to do something else. And I'm hoping that the light bulb goes off soon. But right now, I'm really just enjoying my life. Like,
you're not forcing it.
I'm in Bali right now.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, so I'm in Bali, so it's like, I'm dope. I'm in paradise right now. I literally walk outside and I see palm trees. Like I'm chilling. Like, I have a scooter. I go to the beach whenever I want. Like, I'm just, like, I don't even know how to even, it's the whole aspect of my life right now is crazy. If you would ask me this would be my life a year and a half ago, I would have been like, you're crazy. I'm going to be in a cubicle somewhere working.
Do you see yourself as a brand, right? Because on Instagram, your Instagram handle is The Cheap God, right? I feel like you have people who are tuned in like me to your travels and just your day-to-day life. How do you navigate kind of being this micro influencer?
The funny thing about it, when people started telling me that I influenced them, it kind of felt weird because I was like, oh, I influence you? Like, people, after that Travel Noir interview, my DMs would be like, yo, thank you, bro. Like, I've been thinking about, like, you keep it real, keep it blunt. That's the thing about me. Like, a lot of these influencers, they'll have a line that they don't cross. And, like, because they want to have that fake life, to portray that fake life. I'm not. I'm just going to keep it real with you. I'm going to tell you the good, the bad, and the ugly about this life. I'm going to tell you that I'm lonely. I'm going to tell you that this Asian person looked at me funny and tried to touch my chest Like I'm gonna tell you everything that happened. I'm gonna tell you about these kids that I talked to and had a great conversation with. I'm gonna tell you the great things. I'm gonna tell you the ugly things. And the influence thing, I was like, I'm an influencer. Like I never even thought of myself like that. I just wanted to show my people that the world can be seen without a lot of money. And I feel like a lot of us, especially as Black people, is that we feel like we need a lot of money just to see the world. And we really don't. We don't need to stay at the top line hotel when we go somewhere. We don't need to sit at the 5-star restaurant in Asia. Like, we don't need to do that. Like, I get it. You want to look good for Instagram, but like you're thinking that you need thousands and thousands of dollars to go to Asia. Honestly, all you need to do is pay for your plane ticket. That's the most expensive thing. When you get to Asia, you could literally be eating for $1 or $2 a meal. You could literally stay in a nice hotel for like $20 a night. And I think that's I try to portray that to people. And that's why I said, like, I want to I try to do the YouTube channel, but I got a little lazy. I'm not going to lie.
I think you only have 4 videos up. I was looking.
Yeah, I got a little comfortable because I felt like the one thing about the YouTube thing is, like, I see these YouTubers, these like white, like, because there's not a lot of Black YouTubers, like currently YouTubers, like Black men. So I see a lot of white men that, like, they'll like walk around with the cameras and everything. And in my head, I'm like, this is my first time doing this. I don't want to just feel like I'm going to these places just to record. Like, I actually want to experience these places on my own. So that's kind of why I stopped YouTubing. And I hated editing too. That's another thing. But I really just didn't want to be that. I just didn't want to walk around the camera and like every time I see something, start recording or something like that. Like, I actually want to enjoy it for myself. And I think that's what I did. But as a brand, like, I'm the cheap guy. Like, I'm cheap when I travel. Like, there's some things, like, I'm cheap when I travel. Like, there's 2 things that us as a people, we hate to talk about. 2 top things. There's other things too that I'm not going to talk about. 2 things. It's mental health and finances. Those 2 things our people don't like talking about. I don't know why we don't like talking about it, but the word cheap is as negative as the N-word in our culture. I don't know why. Like, when you call somebody cheap, people want to fight you when you get called cheap. I'm like, why can't you just you're financially stable, brother. You're financially stable, sister. Like, you're not spending money frivolously. Don't let somebody else's opinion bother you about it. And like, people would tell me, like, you sure you want to have YouTube channel about being cheap? Nobody wants to be cheap when they travel. People want to live a mythical, like a fake world when they travel. I'm like, you want to live that Instagram life when you travel. Are you really traveling?
Yep.
And that's the question. Are you really traveling when you live this life?
And kind of what you said earlier too, because remember, YouTube and the whole idea of YouTube is an American-born concept, right?
Yep.
So when you're doing it for the vlog, like, you really are subscribing to the benefit of, like, creating for the purpose of monetizing or creating for the purpose of being seen. And that's kind of like still bringing the American culture into your travel. So it's like you really have to redefine what it means for you and create your own concept of however it is that you end up creating and putting your mark on content.
And I'm gonna figure it out one day. Like, I'm gonna figure it out. Like I said, the light bulb will go off one day. It'll be all right. Like, I'll figure it out. And I just want people to know that it's not expensive to see the world. It's not. You could see the world. Don't think that you need thousands of dollars to see the world.
I saw this meme on Instagram, and it was like, chicks who work at McDonald's, oh, I'm going to Mexico tomorrow. And then, like, people who work at regular jobs are like fighting to plan a trip. It was just funny, like, meaning that, like, you don't necessarily have to have a lot of money, because people who don't have a lot are making things happen. Is there a place or a thing that would make you kind of stop being a nomad? When you think of settling down, do you think of settling down? And I just mean, like, not ever traveling again for a long period. Like,
not ever traveling again, or just staying in the country Only thing that will keep me in a country is a woman. That's it. That's it. There's anything that I want to do, I can do in any country.
Yep.
Like, honestly, anything that I want to do right now, which is crazy to say, anything that I want to do right now, because the things that I can see myself doing is either the travel, the fitness, and the food. And I could do that in any country. But the only thing that will keep me in a country and make me sit my behind down and start building is a woman. And that's like, it's crazy, but like, especially what is going on right now in the States, women are like, I don't care what any man says. You can't do nothing without a woman. I'm sorry. You can't do nothing. A woman is very important to a man's existence. Not only do they birth us, but we literally don't know how to, most men right now can't function. Like, ask me if Barack could function without Michelle.
Probably not. He probably pretend
Probably
to.
Not. Probably pretend to. And you see, can Jay-Z function without Beyonce? He tried to. It didn't work out very well for him. So it's like, it's hard. Like, you have to, like, that's the only thing that'll stop me, just to sit down. And I come to a lot of these countries, I feel like, yeah, I could sit down here, but am I going to be alone? I'm not going to sit in the countries, I'm going to be alone. So I'm just going to keep going until somebody's like, hold on, big fella. I'm here.
And you know, maybe that person will bring you to the light and then the bulb will go off. Get it?
Yeah, see, there you go.
It's funny because my episode 1 guest, David, oh my God, why am I forgetting his last name? Anyway, my episode 1 guest, and this was way back in 2015, and he was probably like 23, 24 at the time, and he was like, everything I do is for the love of a woman, or to possibly get the love of a woman. And it's just that he talked about it then, and like, it just kind of went over my head. But when you think about it, like, at the end of the day, we are motivated by love in some way. You know, whether it's finding love for yourself, whether it's finding a love for another. But I really feel like love fuels the world. Love and stories fuel the world.
But you can't love somebody without loving yourself.
Yeah.
And that's what I learned. Like, I finally love myself. If you were to ask any woman that was interested in me when I was in America, I didn't love myself. And there was no way I could have loved them. But now I love myself. So now it's the time for me to love somebody else, because now I love myself.
I feel like that's such a nice way to put it. That's so true. I'm proud. I'm happy for you.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
I really am happy for you. And I think as like just following you on Instagram, it really makes me happy to see that you are out here living a life that you're defining for yourself. Because so many of us, especially people of color, like, we feel lost. A lot of us, like, and even I feel like millennials especially, like, I don't know what happened to our generation, but I feel like this is going to be like the lost generation, right? Where like, we're really trying to find ourselves, and we're at a mix between like the new technology versus remembering what life was like without all this technology, and just trying to find ourselves. So you are definitely an example. And that's why I really wanted to have you on the show today.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Let me ask you one quick question, because you are the cheap god, so I got to ask you this. What's your number one travel hack for traveling cheaply? Like, what's something that's your go-to, like, hack, or how you make sure you're getting the best deals when it comes to just day-to-day living? Not the traveling part, but just day-to-day existing in a country.
Not shopping at a supermarket.
Okay.
That's my travel hack. It's wet market. They call it wet markets here, but in America it's kind of like farmers market. That is my travel hack. Because supermarkets, no matter in what country you're in, is always more expensive than when you buy the fruits or the vegetables off the street. So that's my day-to-day. It's always been my travel hack since I started living in Thailand. I got introduced to the wet market, to just buying everything. Like, there's a few things, of course, you have to buy at the supermarket, like toilet paper and paper towel and dish soap and stuff like that. But when it comes to food, I get all my things outside at the market. And that's my biggest travel hack when I travel.
How do you navigate the language barrier?
Pointing is the best thing. Pointing. I got lucky in Malaysia because most Malaysians speak English.
Okay.
But like in Bali, in the area I'm in, a lot of people don't speak English. So like your best thing is pointing. Like you just point and you nod and you say, everybody knows the word thank you. Like thank you thank you and hello, everybody, that's universal language. So you just nod, point, thank you. And then like if they say the money in their language, most people will have a calculator and they'll just type the number and you see it. Or I know my lady in Vietnam, the lady I used to go to in Vietnam at the market, she would actually go in her bucket with her money and will show me how much, like she charges me, and will just like pick up her money and be like, this is how much it is. And then I'll go in my pocket and be like, okay, here you go. Because she spoke Vietnamese, I spoke English, and we didn't. She just knew every time I pulled up, she knew exactly what I wanted. Like that's the one thing about being Black in Asia is that if you portray yourself the right way, these people will remember you and they'll look out for you. So I go to like in Malaysia, I had a specific person who went to the market, and every day it's like every week I would go there and like my food would get even cheaper and cheaper because he'd be like, oh yeah, this man comes to me every week. I see him every week. He comes to me every week. He's like, but they'll remember you. Like if you portray yourself, they'll remember you. Yeah, you're probably the only I'm the only Black person in this area right now in Bali because I'm away from the tourist area. But these people remember me.
So recently, like last week, I went to a Haitian church, right? And I didn't understand anything because it was a different language. Do you ever feel lost when you're traveling and like everything is a little bit like you don't understand what's going on around you? Or do you just take it all and like how do you navigate that part of it too?
I just embrace it. Okay. I just embrace it. Like that, I've never felt lost. The hardest thing for me is trying to speak to somebody on another language on the phone. Like when I'm in person, I'm fine. Like I just embrace it because I feel like I'm in their country. Like they don't have to learn English. People that feel entitled that when they travel that everybody should know English, you should just stay in America. Like don't even leave. But like I just embrace it and I love it.
So this part of the interview, Craig, I'm going to give you a prompt and I want you to just tell me the first thing that comes to mind. And remember, we're sticking with our whole dreams and drive metaphor. Okay? So the first word is park.
First thing I think about is just parking and thinking about your life and like putting your life in park and actually like seeing what's in front of you and not passing it by. That's the first thing I see. Yeah.
Reverse.
Reverse. Don't always try to go back. Try to back up and catch something that you lost. Sometimes it just wasn't meant for you because that's one of the hardest things. Don't try and reverse and go back to something. Like you feel like you lost something. You feel like you might have lost a chance. You got to think about it positively and understand that sometimes it's not meant for you.
All right. Neutral.
Always have options. Because that's the thing I realize about neutral is that always be open. Like neutral, you just rolling with it. Like roll with it. Like enjoy what's coming at you. Even if it's something you're not used to, enjoy the options that are coming by you. Because I didn't think I was going to be in Bali right now, but I saw a cheap ticket, and I was like, oh, I might go see it. I was supposed to be on the way to South Africa like next month. Now I'm probably gonna be in Bali for the next 4 or 5 months. Just enjoy what comes at you while you're neutral.
And then last but not least, drive.
Drive. Always if somebody says you crazy, drive on. Like I'm telling you, always keep that drive. Because there's a million people that told me I'm nuts if I kept on driving. Because if I would have stopped, I would have still been in a cubicle, or I probably wouldn't be on this earth. So always drive to your dreams. Like if there's a dream and you feel like you can grab it, you can grasp it, do it. Of course, nobody's going to be as fortunate as me and have an income, but there's ways for you to get an income. You could do a TEFL. You could teach online. If you you have a drive to travel and to leave America, you can do it. You don't have to be a veteran and get a pension. You could do it.
All right. And if you want to be a dream driver, you have to have your keys to success. So what are just 3 things that you think every dream driver needs in their car, their toolkit, before they hit the road?
For me, I say confidence, open-mindedness, because you have to be open-minded to a lot of things, especially when you have a dream, because there might be different ways you have to reach that dream. You have to be open-minded and try to reach that dream by any means possible. And tough skin, tough, like being tough, like being able to take punches, take blows, because you're going to get knocked down. Like I was knocked down. You're going to reach you might reach a low point when trying to be successful, but not everybody's spoon fed to success. Like you're going to reach a low point. So just know that even when you get to that low point, that at some point you'll be able to get there. Where
can our dream drivers find you online, Craig, if they want to connect with you, if they want to, tune in as you travel the world?
Just go on my Instagram, The Cheap God, my Facebook's The Cheap God, and my Twitter is The Cheap God. I'm mostly on Instagram. I use Facebook for mostly like expat groups and stuff like that. But if you want to talk to me, just hit me up on Instagram on The Cheap God, like the THE cheap CHEAP God GOD. I don't think I'm a god. The name was from a friend, my friend Jordan. I went to Colombia with him one time, and we was traveling. I met him in Colombia, and he was like, I was going somewhere to eat. He was like, boy, you cheap, God. Like, and then it just hit me like that. He was like, I was like, oh, that's catchy.
Yo, I love that.
All because somebody was like, boy, you cheap, God. And I was like, oh, that's catchy. I'm going to use that. And never did I think about that a year later, because that was a year before I left. I think a year later, that would be my tagline while traveling. So if you want to catch me on anything, I'm always updating my story. I keep it blunt. I'll be in Bali right now. Y'all about to start seeing some stuff. Like I'm about to start exploring a lot of islands and being around a lot of people. And yeah, that's basically my life. Just waking up, going to the gym, cooking. I'm always cooking. I'm trying to make it to this 4 a.m. fish market one day. I don't know what day. The 4 a.m. fish market where like everything you ever imagine will be there. And I'm gonna start videotaping again. Light bulb will hit me one day when I actually feel like editing. So I'll be able to do that. But I'll probably start using IGTV as well as YouTube.
Yeah, that's where everything is. I feel like everything's switching to that. And if you're on Instagram, they I feel like every platform, they boost the stuff that it's their video platform, so they're going to make sure that stuff gets shown. And if you're early to it, go ahead and do it. All right, so that's a wrap for episode 210 with Craig. I hope that you enjoyed hearing his dream driving journey as well as his keys to success. And I want to just give Craig another thank you. Thank you for being so honest. Thank you for being so transparent about your journey. I know even in episode 209, we had Takia talk about some of the things that she's navigating. And to hear Craig open up about the realities of being a Black man abroad and talking about things that we often don't hear, men in general, especially in this type of setting, talk about, I hope that it really does make us just think about the decisions that we're making in our lives and making sure that we're checking in with ourselves and that we're really, really taking care of ourselves, guys. As I always say, if you need someone to talk to, don't be afraid to go and get that help. And also, our friend, Dr. Joy, Therapy for Black Girls, has a phenomenal therapist directory. If you need someone to talk to, you can find a therapist in your state. Just go to therapyforblackgirls.com to enjoy that. If you love this episode, please share it with a friend, guys. We can be found at Dreams and Drive across the board on social media, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And you can also use the hashtag Dreams and Drive when you share on Instagram, when you share on Facebook. I appreciate it all. So keep telling people about Dreams and Drive. You guys help me grow the community, and I could not do this without you. If you want to get our weekly newsletter, The Keys, just go to dreamsanddrive.com/join. Make sure that you are subscribed subscribed everywhere you can listen to us. We are on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Google Podcasts. Just search Dreams and Drive and then hit that subscribe button. And if you're an Apple Podcast, please make sure that you're leaving us ratings and reviews. Those go a long way, and I really do appreciate them. So please continue to leave reviews. I would appreciate it. It takes 5 seconds, and if you leave a review, I'll probably read it on the next episode. And remember, guys, if you want to be part of our Patreon community for just $5 a month, you can support Dreams and Drive, and you can just help us fund. You can help us with all the great stuff that we're working on for the end of the year. So if you want to be part of our Patreon community, just go to dreamsanddrive.com/donate. And there are other options that you can support there as well. As always, keep dreaming, keep driving, guys, and we will chat again in episode 211. Bye, guys.